Good morning. Today is Sunday, 1st December 2024. Welcome to yet another episode of Weekend Musings, where I talk about important events which happened and last week and which may dictate what will happen in the future. The title of today's topic came about with the reason is that there's an old story behind it. A wizened old stockbroker in the Madras Stock Exchange trading ring, where I was a floor sub-broker in the 90s, mentioned to me about human psychology. Human psychology is such that, we are unwilling to believe factual data. Forget about opinions. We stick on to some opinions of so-called gurus, and whatever they say, we assume is true when there is contrarian data available for all of us to see. So what he said then was, even if I give you tomorrow's newspaper this morning, you will still make loss in trading. Now, tomorrow's newspaper will contain the open, high, low, and close of today's markets. Yet, you will listen to TV pundits, you'll read in the newspapers, you'll read a magazine, you'll hear from your friends that this and this will happen on this and this stock and index, and then you will trade according to them when you already have tomorrow's newspaper with you, and that will give you all the rates. So now this is a fascinating study in human psychology, because that is how we hold on to beliefs of what people are. Let's say we think people are superior, the gurus are superior, we know nothing, whereas factual data will be something else. So if you just look at what I want is this, there is something called the Vahan database, which gives us monthly registration data of all automobiles. Now, please note the registration data will always be lower than the sales data. The automobile companies keep pushing sales into different channels, whether they're warehouse or wholesale or finally at the showroom. But that doesn't mean that they all get sold. Whereas registration means when the customer comes in, he buys that product and then goes and get it registered. So there is a delay of about a few days between the sales and the registration. Even if you assume that it is happening next day, we have data up to the last date of the registration. RTOs register on all days excepting the Saturdays and Sundays. But sales happens both on Saturdays and Sundays. So when you take monthly data from registration, that registration data will always be lower than actual sales for the month. Now we get the sales on monthly data on first of every month. That is what the manufacturers give it, and the FADA, that Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, give the data of actual sales by the first week. But the data given on the first of every month is considered solid. Now, leading to this data, there was last week across the board, there was a talk that automobile sales are going down, and they have been down for quite some time, and they continue to be down in November, and they are likely to end November at lower than October and lower than last year November when there was Deepavali. So let us examine whether what is the fact. Let us just take last year November. If you look at here, you will see last year October was about 21 lakhs registrations. November was about 28.9 lakh registrations because Deepavali came during mid-November. December was 20 lakhs. Okay, keep this in mind. It was less than 29 lakhs, 28.91 lakhs November. Now let's see what happened in 2024. Now 2024, if you look at it, September data actually killed the markets for autos. September was 17.39. If you take 2023 September data, was very good at 19 lakhs. So people compared September data of 19 lakhs and said, this September we have done only 17 lakhs. So there is a slowdown, and therefore you hammer the auto stocks. Kindly note down, this is September 19 lakhs, 21 lakhs and 29 lakhs. Now let's go back to what happened this year. So this year, September was 17.39 lakhs. Okay, you got every right to hammer the stocks. What happened in October? October jumped to 28 lakhs. And what happened last year? Last year was about 21 lakhs. Now we have got October, which is higher than last October. Now you may say that this October is higher because you had Dasara and Deepavali during October itself. In fact, it was on November 1st. So therefore, November sales will be low. Now last year, November sales were about 29 lakhs. Now where are we today? We are about 31.58 lakhs. Last year, November was considered an all-time high for automobile sales. This October, we have almost matched that. Last October was 29. We are at 28.6, which is very good. And November, where there was no festival, has gone up to 31.18. This is registrations. Again and again, I repeat, is registrations. So clearly, we will know that 31 is higher than what we saw last year, which is 28.91. Last year was below 29. This time, it is above 31. So we are having already 2.5 lakh shares, 2.5 lakh sales, which is higher than last year. So therefore, now if you were to believe that this sales of this November is going to be lower than last November, it is not true. But that is what most people are talking about. Across the board, they're talking about. So when you see 31 lakh registrations on Monday morning, which means the sales will be higher than that, then what do you think will happen to the auto share prices? Notwithstanding other events. So what I'm trying to tell you here is we have to be very careful when data is available. Go through the data. Ours is probably the only place where you get authentic data and not just opinions. Your opinions can be wrong, but data is God. And that is what I believe. And that is what I'm showing you here. So if somebody is going to tell you November is bad because sales happened in October, registrations, you're seeing a registration increase of over last November or this October when the festival was there. So that is a point to remember. Now, GDP growth. People were shocked that GDP growth at 5.4%. So people talked about, India's GDP shocker. I don't think anybody who's been in the business for long and who's observing will think that the GDP growth would have been really higher than anything above 6. People were talking about 6, 6.5 and something like that. Now, 5.4 is a number which is obviously less than 5.5, but it would not have been a surprise for regular watchers. But it's also a good thing because people baked their RBI rate cut expectations on GDP coming at 6.5. So they said GDP is growing, inflation is high. So why should RBI cut rates? Because RBI, the head of RBI himself, governor, said that they are looking at somewhere around 6.8. So RBI's argument for reducing interest rate has been demolished. Now they have to reduce interest rates because data is clear. RBI has got a dual mandate to see that inflation is down and also to see growth is up. If you are having a GDP growth of 5.4, which is a shocker to the powers that be, not for a regular observer of the Indian economy like I am and like many of us are. So it should not have come as a shocker. But it's a good news because now they are forced to get out of their inaction and do something to see that you are going to get the economy moving. I've always been believing, and not only me, there are a lot of people who said that there should have been a cut in September, if not September, in December. Now they were talking of a cut in April of the next year. I don't think RBI is going to sleep over it anymore. I think the government has already pushed them to a corner. The data has pushed them to a corner. So you will see people talking about a rate cut around the corner, and not only a rate cut around the corner, enhancement of liquidity measures you will see in this RBI policy. So that is tomorrow's news today. Then you go to the another one. Okay. This is Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has threatened the BRICS countries of 100% tariff if they drop dollar as currency. Now, de-dollarization has become a very big topic of debate. And people think that there will be something called a BRICS currency, which will replace the dollar. I have been arguing that you have to look at what can be constitute a BRICS currency. BRICS currency basically Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. South Africa is anyway not in prominence, but let's take South Africa also. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now look at what these currencies are. What should the characteristic, the single biggest characteristic of a world currency should be that it should be freely convertible, fully convertible, freely tradable. Now, US dollar is accepted everywhere. Indian rupee is not accepted everywhere. Maybe in a few countries, maybe Nepal, maybe Sri Lanka, maybe a few countries in Southeast Asia. It is not accepted as a currency in UK or US or anywhere in the world. Why? Because it is partially convertible. Look at B, Brazil, partially convertible. R, Russia, partially convertible. India, we already mentioned. China, partially convertible. South Africa, partially convertible. There are only a handful of currencies around the world, which is dollar, euro, pound, you have Japanese yen, and probably South Africa, South Korea. Other than this, four major currencies, that is dollar, euro, pound, and yen, no other currencies, no other major currencies are fully convertible. So when they are not fully convertible, how can they become a global currency? And none of these countries are looking towards fully conversion. I talked to Dr. Rangarajan at one seminar. Personally, I asked him this question. He said there is no way we are going to go to full convertibility. No way China is going to go to full convertibility. Russia, you forget it. Between India and China, both of them don't want to go to full convertibility because of reasons. There are many other reasons for that. So when you know tomorrow's news that it is impossible to have a BRICS currency, I think we are wasting our time and looking at something called BRICS currency. So I touched upon 3 points, and these 3 points, this news was available and it has come to fruition now, and we are all blinking and thinking that something big is happening. So therefore, coming back to what the markets did. If you look at what happened to the markets, this is Gift Nifty, which I don't trust too much, but nevertheless, let's have a look at it. So this is where it ended at 3:30 on Friday. The GDP numbers were not there, and then it ended at around 24,303. Gift Nifty tags along with the Nifty during the market, but after the market, sometimes good, sometimes different. I mean, all kinds of things happen because the volumes die down after the market. Actually, they are quite good in around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then they die down as the day, as the night goes by. It was sitting at 24,303. The news came, it suddenly fell down. The Nifty showed lower numbers. By 7:30, a lot of selling took place, and then the rally took place because the market began to believe that the government will get up, RBI will get up, and we will look at brighter things in the weeks ahead. So therefore, you saw a steep rally in the Gift Nifty. So it went up about 100 and odd points from 24,240. It went up to 24,440, which are 200 points from the low. From the closing price, it went up about 130 points. Now, I believe that tomorrow the market should be better in spite of the GDP being low, simply because the market is now looking for sops from the government through fiscal means and from RBI through the monetary means. I'm saying again, you'll have something to do with CRR. CRR cut should be there. Interest rate reduction should be there. All of this should help to bring liquidity, and markets at the end of the day look at liquidity. So therefore, I am saying once again, reminding you of that wizened old broker on the floor of Madras Stock Exchange 32 years ago, who told me, I will give you tomorrow's newspaper, Vijay, but you will still not make money because you are having theories based on the gurus and the furus and the newspaper, TV, and other things. There was no internet at that point of time, but I'm just saying, today we are flooded with opinions, and most of the time their opinions do not have basis in reality. I hope you got something out of it. Please note, I'm not a SEBI registered advisor. Whatever I'm talking here is just my thoughts. but I've put it all on facts. If you like this kind of news and views, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. We're slowly growing. We're about 1100 now, 6 months down the line, slowly and steadily for quality information. I thank you very much for joining. Have a nice Sunday.